Hi there. I want to tell you about my game Centauri Rift. The game is set in space. The colonies in the Centaurus constellation are at war with their mother world, Earth. It's a war of independence. The game itself is a tactical combat game. Each player can play one or more of these ships. The standard play is for teams, so each team will have an equal number of ships. This is set up for 6 players. The goal of the game is to be the last team with ships on the board. To do that, what you want to do is position your ships tactically to gain the advantage, fire your weapons, reducing the shields, and then eventually getting shots on the hull, decreasing the hull integrity to 0. Once that's done, a ship is removed from the board, it is destroyed. And that continues until only one team is left. Alternatively, there is an individual play variant. Players compete to reach a set point goal. They gain points by destroying other ships, but when that happens, ships come back onto the board immediately. And they continue in rotation. First 1 to 2, 3, 4 kills wins the game. The central board has the ships itself. It is modular. You can set up asteroids, planets, a nebula, stars. The rest of the game is tracked on the consoles, the player boards. Each player board tracks shields, speed, torpedoes if the ship has some, the hull integrity, main reactor, the auxiliary power, and mines. Also important here is that this schematic shows where the weapons are, whether they have torpedoes in the red and lasers in the blue, and whether they're forward facing or backward facing. This is the Screech. It has no torpedoes, but it does have an ion cannon. It is fast, but its weapons are less powerful. This ship is the Hammer. It is very slow and very heavy. It has more hull, more torpedoes. It uses more energy to move than the other ships. The highlights of Centauri Rift start with the modular board, because the tiles are double-sided, usually with a blank space on one side and then with some feature on this side. This is a star. You can't go through the star. Or a nebula. If you go through the nebula, your shields come down. There are also small planets that act as obstacles. Large planets, same thing. The asteroids are also obstacles, but only in one plane, because there are 3 dimensions in Centauri Rift. And so you cannot pass through an asteroid, but you could pass underneath or above it. For example, this asteroid here is on the highest plane, the +1 plane. It's symbolized by the white color. This ship has a gray circle around it, indicating that it's in the middle plane, 0. That means it could pass beneath the asteroid without any problems. Similarly, another ship could switch out these circles and pass over or under other ships, but never through. Another highlight of Centauri Rift is the range of tactical options that are available. If at some point in the game your shields have been reduced significantly, but you need to protect one of your sides, you can spend some energy to switch the shields around. You can deploy mines in space, but you have to watch out because you can hurt yourself doing that too. You can use auxiliary power, and so if you've used up all your auxiliary, but you're going to need some in a turn in the future, you can spend your reactor energy to charge the auxiliary power. You can use torpedoes and lasers or the ion cannon, and they have their own advantages. The torpedoes never require energy, meaning that you have more energy to do other things. But when you're out of torpedoes, you've got none left. You can only rely on your lasers at that point. Lasers have unlimited ammunition, but they do less damage. What I see as an advantage of Centauri Rift is that there are no dice, there are no cards. To keep the game moving, you just have to stay ahead of the timer. Also, one advantage of Centauri Rift is the level of theme and mechanic integration. Each one of these player boards, these consoles, makes you feel like you're at the helm of a ship. In addition, there are various features of space physics that have been incorporated into the game. For example, if you've sped up and you move your ship on one turn with that speed, moving 2 spaces, on the next turn, because there is no friction in space, your ship won't slow down. It will still be going speed 2. You don't have to spend any more energy to stay at that speed. However, if you want it to slow down again, now you have to exert energy, spend some energy, slow down again. I'm now going to demonstrate a 2-player scenario. I'll play against myself. I'll show the basics of how a turn works. We've already suffered some damage. The shields have been knocked down a little bit. This Screech has used some of its auxiliary power already, but the hulls are still intact. So the very first thing that you do on a turn is that you take the main reactor token and you fill it right up. So every turn the ship's reactor produces a certain amount of energy. The Screech produces more energy every turn than the hammer. And this is the energy that you have to spend during a turn. You can do as many or as few actions on a turn as you like, but you have to be able to pay for it in energy. The hammer has filled its reactor energy. It is wanting to fire on the Screech, but they're not on the same plane. The hammer is on the -1 plane with the black circle. The Screech is on the 0 plane with the gray circle. Therefore, the hammer has to go up. So it spends 2 energy because it's so heavy. It goes up 1 plane, reducing the energy and then switching out the discs to represent that it's on the 0 plane. Ships have to be on the same plane to fire at each other. So now it has full sight of the front side and on the left side equally, because it has a 45-degree vantage point. He notices that the left side of the Screech has already taken a little damage, so he aims there. The hammer has 3 torpedoes facing forward, so he fires all of them. 1, 2, 3. That corresponds to 9 damage on the Screech. So we have to reduce the shields by 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The hammer has some lasers left over, so it fires a few of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. She fires all its front lasers. Now we have to reduce damage. There's only 1 shield left on this side, and the rest of the damage has to come off the hull. 1, 2, 3. So the Screech has taken a beating in this point. Now the hammer has spent most of its energy. It has only 1 left, but if it spends that last one, the shields will come down. It doesn't want to do that right now. It does have to move at least 1 space forward or else slow down. He doesn't want to spend the auxiliary, so he'll move the 1 space and call that a turn. The Screech now fills up the main reactor. His ion cannon isn't charged, meaning he cannot do maximum damage. So he's going to take this turn to charge the cannon, fill the auxiliary, and get ready for next turn. First of all, spending 1 energy to charge the ion cannon. Secondly, going ahead 2 spaces at first. Notice that you can do your actions in any order that you want. So in this case, we turn, then move the final space. We'll spend another one to turn, protecting the left flank completely. We'll spend another energy to go up 1 plane to actually be behind the asteroid, which is in the +1 plane. And he'll spend the rest of his energy charging the auxiliary power banks, which is 3. 1, 2, 3. That. And he calls that a turn. That's it for our introduction of Centauri Rift. My name is Jacques Boulet. I'm the designer. The beautiful artwork was done by Daniel Allen. This is Centauri Rift. a tactical space combat game with 3 dimensions, with many options. Your imagination is the limit. Thanks for watching.